of what we've been talking about, your spine and your health, with Dr. Ronti Ogun. So, Dr. Ogun, thank you again.
Thank you.
For last time we spoke about a couple of very interesting things. So we talked about the spine, some wrong postures, practices that people do, and how that can affect the health of the spine, and not only that, affect the health of the body. And I think we're going to go into a lot of that later on in the next few segments. But I want us to finish up with that whole thoughts about the things that we do. So we talked about posture for one. I want to throw this in because somebody told me about this, and since then I've tried to maintain that practice. As a man, many of us tend to put our wallets in our back pockets, and I've been told that can cause misalignment. It can cause the spine to go, off.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's another practice that we should try to avoid.
Desist from. Yes, absolutely. That comes from the fact that the spine connects to what we call the hip bones, or the ilium, and the tailbone. Mm-hmm. Now, the ilium, the tailbone, the ilium and the tailbone, these construct what we call the pelvis. And as the pelvis is, it's where our buttocks are. This is the waist. Mm-hmm. And therefore, it is very flexible, so we can sit down or stand up. It is also the base of the spine. So if there's any kind of tilting, then obviously the spine will not be balanced.
Okay.
Putting your wallet, I know Dr. Ajibade's wallet is very fat, so if he puts his very fat wallet here and then sits on it, then he's going to create an imbalance. An imbalance of the base of the spine. Mm-hmm. And this, over a period of time, can lead to this subluxation that we have spoken about in the last segment.
And real quick, what's a subluxation?
A subluxation is when one of the vertebrae is out of its normal alignment. Uh-huh. It can either be out of alignment to the front, or to the back, to the side. Any misalignment of the spine that is not a dislocation is known as a subluxation. Uh-huh. And the danger of the subluxation is that if not addressed, it will lead to spondylosis. And that spondylosis will now cause other problems, both with the body and also internal organ function.
And by spondylosis, you mean like inflammation, or?
Yes, spondylosis is actually like an arthritis of the spine.
There you go.
So it's an inflammation of the bones of the vertebra. They will begin to grow, what we call, they will undergo proliferation of bone, or I'm looking for an easier word.
Spikes. They're trying to create some spikes.
Yes, it will cause proliferation of bone in places where there shouldn't be bone. Right. Let's just think about it that way.
Okay.
And that can, in and of itself, intrude upon the nerves of the spine, which come out through the joints. Okay. That yellow that you're seeing here. And once that happens, there are consequences,
which we will talk about. All right, so have we finished discussing about posture and other bad habits?
All right, well, posture is actually part of spinal hygiene. Okay. That is half of it. Mm-hmm. Maintaining good posture while we are doing things that we do every day. Sitting, sleeping, texting, maintain good posture. The other half is making sure that our spine is always flexible. So we are to engage daily in some form of exercise. Aerobics is good, but better yet, plus aerobics, spinal flexibility exercises. Now, what do I mean? Spinal flexibility exercises are designed to make sure that the spine maintains its flexibility. If you can do them every day, sometimes even twice a day, no reason not to, you can spend as little as 10 minutes a day doing these, and by so doing maintain spinal flexibility, and this in combination with maintaining good posture will surely give you a longer lived spine without problems.
Okay, and I see you're holding something up, but well, you know, we Nigerians, we don't like complex stuff, and this looks pretty complex. However, not to give us a way out, what are some of the easiest things that we can do?
Okay.
To just keep our flexibility.
Very
going?
good.
And we can get these from your office.
Yes,
right?
yes, you can get these. Yeah, I've got plenty.
You got plenty. Okay.
So anyway.
So what are some baseline, bottom line things we
right,
can do?
very good.
Right.
In the morning, before we get out of bed, there are some that we can actually do just to get the day going.
Okay.
This is very important. It's very common for anybody when they first wake up in the morning, they might yawn and they might even stretch. That's just a normal reaction. Mm-hmm. Now we take it a step further by doing some stretches that are focused on the spine.
Okay.
So I usually tell people start with 3 stretches that you can do while lying down. We have it here. It says lying down.
Okay.
So you can start with something like this.
Okay, and I see.
Remember, I said that it's natural for you to stretch your arms. Well, stretch your legs as well.
So I see what I'm seeing here is straight leg raises. Right?
Yes, straight leg raise.
Okay.
Raise your legs straight up in the air as high as you can, and you will feel it in the back of your knees and in your legs and thighs. And it's a good feeling. It's a stretching feeling. And you might think, well, how does that affect the spine? Well, the legs and all the muscles of the thighs and buttocks and things like that stabilize the spine.
All right, thank you for that. We kind of went over a little bit, but we will be back. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We are talking about your spine and your health, and we've gone over posture problems and how to improve your posture and how to improve flexibility or do some exercise. Please, folks, take it seriously. Remember these things. Exercise, move your back and forth and all those things. You'll be surprised. Those small things that you're doing here and there can make a huge difference in helping to improve the health of your spine, but even more importantly, the health of your body. And we're going to go into that in this next segment with Dr. Ogun. Dr. Ogun, so we have this whole slide here, and basically it's telling us, let me see, it's telling us how the spine is connected pretty much to every organ in the body, yes?
Absolutely.
And so anything that, basically from what you've said, anything that affects the spine will obviously affect the rest of the body. And we had this interesting discussion during the break that certain diseases can be caused or are caused by this, and if corrected, if the spine is corrected, certain diseases can actually be abated and can actually even be lost completely.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Absolutely.
That I want to hear.
Okay. So now we've spoken, as Doc said, about spinal hygiene, and in 2 positions. In 2 parts. One, our own ability to maintain good posture while carrying out our activities of daily living, and then number 2, maintaining spinal hygiene through exercise and flexibility. Now, the consequences of us not doing that is what we're going to talk about here today. The consequence that is most common and that we most relate to the easiest is neck and low back pain. And how does this neck and back pain manifest? Well, there's what we call mechanical back pain, in which, like I showed earlier, the spine has twisted or otherwise shifted out of position, and then that area will be painful. That's what we call essential low back pain. There's also situations where such a shift will lead to spondylosis, or even the shift itself can cause an entrapment of the nerve. If any segment of the nervous system is entrapped, particularly those ones that are closest to the spine, then there's going to be a major area of the body that will not be receiving correct signals from the brain in order to control the health of that area. In our body, we can feel neck and back pain. But more importantly, these same nerves that are transmitting this neck and back pain are the same nerves that manage and control and coordinate the function of our internal organs. So the ones in the neck, the nerves that come out from the neck, control structures in the head, neck, that is things like the aorta, those are in the neck.
So again, I'm looking at these organs and I'm seeing just how valuable they are. So what you're saying again is that any impingement, any malfunction in these nerves will cause problems with the heart, the lungs, the stomach, and other places.
Yes.
Give me some examples of
All
that.
right. Remember, before I go there, I want to just state that, remember I said that subluxation leads to spondylosis. And once this spondylosis occurs, it's not a matter of age, although it is time related. It's not a matter of the age of the spine, but the location of the injury.
Okay.
So if the person has an injury in the neck, then we could expect them to have neck pain going into the shoulders and arms. But also likely is that they may have visual problems or auditory problems. They may have balancing problems and issues.
Really?
Because the nerves that control those things have been affected. If it's in the upper back, the person may begin to develop things such as those things that control the heart, lungs, and the aorta. All of these things like hypertension, asthma. If you take anybody who is listening and is aware or is well versed or familiar with medical issues will know that these things that I'm talking about are as a result of what we call overfunction or underfunction. In other words, lack of regulation.
Right.
In other words, the nerve that's supposed to regulate the function is not regulating because it has been entrapped. And so the consequence of not following good spinal hygiene is probably neck and back pain, most definitely.
Right.
And then additionally, all of these other things, hypertension, asthma, this is the stomach, so you can talk about digestive problems, ulcers.
Ulcers included?
Yes, absolutely. This is the liver, so you now talk about things in the liver and around there, pancreas. And when you talk about pancreas, now you're talking about diabetes and hyperglycemia and things of that nature.
Wow.
If it's in the lower back, we can also expect, of course, low back pain with radiation all the way down to the legs. But then also, the things in the lower back and lower abdomen can be affected. And that includes things as the lower intestine, the colon, can become paralyzed, or what we call spastic, can go either way. And then, of course, libido
okay.
can be involved.
Now you're hitting on a nerve. I mean, I wasn't so sure about the rest, but because most of us kind of like we manage and all that. But now you're talking about our sex lives and
absolutely.
Well,
that is
tread carefully, Doc. This is Nigeria. We take that part very, very seriously.
Then, as the more seriously we take it, the more seriously we will take spinal hygiene habits.
Well, that's a good way to do it. Yeah, that's a good way to really, because now we're paying attention. Diabetes, hypertension, you take a pill or two, but
this one.
So you're saying that things like erection problems?
Yes, erectile dysfunction is very common in people who have lumbar spondylosis.
No way.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, there's research going on currently to to verify and research, find out what the role of spondylosis and subluxation play in things such as prostate cancer, benign prostatic hyperplasia.
Wow.
All of these kinds of things. Is it a subluxation that led to this thing happening?
That's interesting.
Yes. So all of those kinds of things are implicated when we don't take care of our spine.
That's really interesting, Doc. So, if we, just in case we didn't have any good reason to take care of our spine,
we do now.
We certainly do now, and of course this applies with the female organs as
absolutely
well. All those things.
Absolutely.
I wish we had more time, but again, we have to come to the break in the program. We are going to come back and we're going to talk about the treatment, what happens when spine is out of alignment, and what can be done to, slap that sucker back into place, for instance. Can I say that on national television?
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Okay. All right. Stay tuned. We'll be back. Okay, welcome back. We're going to jump right into it. We're going to be talking about what to do and what's the place of the chiropractor and possibly another profession like the physiotherapists when a person's spine is obviously out of place. Go for it, Doc.
All right. We've been talking about the consequences of not maintaining spinal hygiene, both in the body and in the function of the internal organs. So I'll repeat again that the nervous system is the master system of the body, controls and coordinates all functions of the body. Whenever we have aches and pains in our body, there are very many causes that can lead to such. But the most common is usually some kind of trauma. So in other words, if your shoulder feels bad and you've been playing tennis a lot over the weekend, it's probably because you were playing tennis. And therefore, in such a case, it's not really as a result of a subluxation.
Okay.
In this case, the person just needs to go do some shoulder exercises, make sure they apply heat or ice, and relax, rest, rest the shoulder, common things that we all know how to do. And if it does not take care of it, then the person may seek the help of a physical therapist.
Okay.
So we have joint trauma or joint pain or things like that. Additionally, if a person undergoes surgery or has a fractured limb, or was hospitalized for a significant amount of time and has lost function of some of their limbs, say for example lost muscle mass, these kinds of things need rehabilitation, which is best handled by a physical therapist. However, if a person is now suffering from things that manifest acutely, in other words, they manifest quickly, it is not something as a result of something that has been there for a long time, then if they can be traced to the spine, then those things will benefit the treatment from a chiropractor.
I see.
So, when we talk about pain in the arms that goes all the way to the fingers, now we're talking about something that is indeed as a result of nerve entrapment.
Okay.
In this case, a physical therapist can't do much. This needs a spinal adjustment.
Okay.
We're seeking to achieve more flexibility and mobility, and also to correct any minor spinal misalignments that may exist. So those three goals are the goals of the spinal adjustment.
So let's have a practical look at what you're saying now, because I'm thinking, well, the spine, I can look at the spine now, but you don't have access to the spine, my spine like this, right?
Yes.
You've got muscles, you've got tissues and all those things. So
how does it happen?
How do you get there? How do you
Thank
get
you
there?
very much. There are many techniques in which we adjust the spine. Some of them use of a machine or device We have those. However, chiropractic, the word itself meaning practice by hand, was originally by hand only.
Okay.
We don't really have access. This is what we call a dry spine. We don't have access to the spine like this in a normal patient or a normal client. So what we have to do is to learn how to use the body itself to adjust the spine.
Okay.
A simple analogy would be, I know we've seen in movies or we've seen in plays, or we even have probably relatives that will all of a sudden crick their neck and you hear a big sound.
Yeah.
Well, they are using the muscles of their neck and the weight of their head to basically adjust the spine.
Okay.
This is a form of self-adjustment.
Right.
However, it's not all of your spine that you'll be able to do that to. And that's where it becomes important to have a chiropractor. So the chiropractic adjustment is accomplished usually by a directed thrust. A thrust directed in a certain line.
So the patient lies down.
Either the patient lies down, person lies down, and then we will direct them. Yes, we use the limbs of the body to adjust the spine.
You can actually use the limbs, the lower limbs. You can stretch out the lower limbs and manipulate them, fold them, but also directly push on the spine.
On the spine.
The spine itself, because I know that's kind of like what happened. I've been in and out of the chiropractors for quite a while myself, so I may not be able to adjust, but I do kind of relate to what you're saying.
What I'm talking about.
So you adjust and you push and you press and you push and you press, and then of course use the limbs like we said, and then of course the neck and the head and neck and all that.
Absolutely.
That's a lot. And I remember when we're talking, some of our discussions, you'd be like, you need to continually do this because the spine doesn't adjust in one sitting. You've got to continually do it so that the muscles and the back can learn that new position. Although it's an old position that went out of whack, but you can do it.
You have to relearn it.
To relearn it, so the muscles can hold it in that position. It doesn't happen one time, doesn't happen twice. It has over a period of time. On average, it's like 2-3 times a week, right?
Yes.
Okay. For how long?
Well, it depends. Let me take over from there. The thing is that the chiropractic is not really about injury and disease.
Yeah.
The thing is that there are injuries and disease that respond very quickly and very well to chiropractic, particularly if they haven't been there for a long time.
Right.
But the main use of chiropractic is to make sure that our spine is constantly in alignment by regularly visiting the chiropractor, maybe as much as once or twice a month.
Okay, that's great. So
if
even
we fall into injury, then it's going to be a lot more visits over a period of time.
Again, we really wish we could have more time, but this has been a great start.
Yes.
And we're definitely going to have to have you come back over and over and over
It's
again.
my pleasure.
Thank you, Doc. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Stay tuned. Next week, we're going to have another interesting guest. And remember, your health is in your hands. Take good control of it. I'm Dr. David Ajibade with the Brain and Body Foundation. See you soon.